After a long day of taking selfies with red phone boxes, a long day of walking around with a group of people you'll never meet again, and perhaps even a long day of gazing at the main sights of London alone, you will come across an eatery called the Great British Fish and Chips. It is ideally located next to all of the popular tourist spots. Your hunger may tempt you to go in, but I urge you to resist all of those cravings and instead walk a little further and seek out a fish and chips restaurant that offers much higher quality food. I've been sitting here for a couple of hours now. Real dedication if you ask me. And the food in the cabinets has still not been changed. The food quality is just not great. As you can see, the batter was extremely oily. And although the chips did not come in batter, they looked like they'd been battered up in 12 rounds of boxing. Every single chip was brown all over. They had clearly oxidized from sitting around for too long. The skin had turned green on some of them. And yes, they just looked pretty sad in general. Reason 3, the price. £12.50 is very expensive for a portion of fish and chips. That doesn't taste great. And finally, reason 4. And before reason number 4, remember to subscribe to the channel as I will be giving you some good recommendations after this segment. The taste. The main factor in deciding whether this place gets a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and sadly, it failed on this front too. The chips were sort of plasticky on the outside, once again probably because they'd been sitting around too long. Some of the chips had been over fried. They weren't really breaking apart on the inside, rather they were kind of spongy. And as for the fish, it took a Herculean effort to even try and pry it open. And once the fish had been popped open out of its casing, it took a massive Herculean effort to bite through the batter. Just listen to how plasticky it sounded when I bit through it again. The fish, to the shop's credit, was sort of moist, but it was very grey looking on the inside. But the garlic mayo that was served as a condiment was one of the worst condiments I've ever had. It was very watery. It tasted like the lowest of low fat of mayos. I then decided to throw some on the floor for the seagulls or the pigeons to eat. I sat around for a while, waiting for them to gobble them up, but unfortunately, despite them being around, they actually didn't eat them. So now, instead of just giving you a negative review, I am walking not very far from central London at all, well it basically is central London, to Tottenham Court Road to give you an actual good recommendation of fish and chips. Tottenham Court Road is a very busy place, but once you get into the side streets, it is a very quiet place. You can hear a pin drop. It's bloody quiet. The scenery is very Harry Potter-esque, and tucked into these side streets is a place named Giggs that serves a portion of fish and chips for only £8.50. A great deal for central London.
Oh wow, such a big portion.
And really, I have to say I agree with my mum. That is quite a large portion for £8.50. The chips this time were very nice and crispy. They were soft on the inside, not overcooked, so they're not leathery on the outside, not undercooked. And the taste, with a bit of salt. And now the fish. Crunch test, let's go. That's what you call a nice, light, crackly crunch. Not too oily, not very fishy at all. Just look at how white that fish is, no grayness at all, and just look at how it flakes away. And it's so moist. These are an absolutely classic fish and chips for £8.50 in central London. Well worth it. And now we're walking off to our next destination, the Docklands area of London, the home of the cable car. And now I'll let my mum take over.
Come follow me. Get the fish and chips. Quickly.
Oh. You're going too fast.
I know. Supersonic. Wow, look at the colorful trees. And here is the fish and chips. Come on, let's go.
We have been waiting for quite a few minutes, but that is quite okay, as they only make small batches of the fish and the chips, and I'm quite happy with that, as it means you're going to get fresh food most of the day. And here were the fish and chips. Now that's what you call a decent portion of fish and chips for £12.50.
Looks nice. Let's see the taste.
Eating this fish and chips is making me feel all patriotic. And here's a nice look of the fish from the inside. Nice and very white, as you could tell from just looking at the piece of fish. The batter was very, very crispy, and the fish on the inside was extremely flaky. And finally, onto our last and most expensive destination. This time, we were off to West London, Knightsbridge to be precise, the home of Harrods, for a fish and chips at the Mayfair Chippy, coming in at a price point of £16.75. This is the shot from the inside, very beautiful looking. And while we were waiting, they even gave us some free sweets.
Wow, it's beautiful presentation. So beautiful looking. It's look like a high class. Oh wow, it's such a big portion.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You've already ate about 15 of the chips.
I know.
And by the way, it better be a decent sized portion at that price. And to be fair, considering that this was from a very affluent area of London and the fact that it came with 3 free condiments and we got some free sweets, made the price of £16.75 not too bad. Very thick, nice and white. Oh. And they're nice and chunky, just as a traditional chippy chip should be. They've not got soggy, they've not got all mushed up. They're perfectly holding their shape. I'm quite impressed, Mayfair Chippy. I am quite impressed. Tartar sauce, a very decent portion of mushy peas, and a nice tub of curry sauce. Not watered down at all. It tastes exactly as a chip shop curry sauce should taste. Extremely thick. I adore mushy peas, and these are good mushy peas. And the tartar sauce, not watered down, once again, very thick, very creamy, and nice, extremely big chunks of gherkin throughout.